What's up, y'all? It's Dr. Paul with another mail call for Liberty Hill Comics. The channel is about sharing my passion and over 40 years experience collecting, investing, and conserving comic books with you, the viewer. So welcome. In today's mail call, I'm opening a very early Marvel Age key. This is a first appearance book for a villain from Ant-Man's Rogues Gallery. I have a complete run of Tales to Astonish, starting with Ant-Man's first appearance. And in this bear market, I've been given an opportunity to acquire some of these books in very high grade. And so today we're opening up a high grade slabs copy that I acquired recently. This is from one of my favorite eBay sellers, Sparkle City Comics. So thank you for joining me in this video. I appreciate you being here, and I'm excited to share this with you. Wow, look at that stunner. That's beautiful. Well, as I like to say, what is it and why do we care? This is Tales to Astonish 38. It's in CGC 7.5 with off-white to white pages. It's the December 1962 issue featuring the 5th Ant-Man appearance, which is plotted by Stan Lee, scripted by his brother Larry Lieber, and penciled by Jack Kirby. It's the first appearance of one of Ant-Man's greatest villains, the criminal mastermind Egghead. As far as Hank Pym's rogues go, I think Egghead is in the top 3, with Jim Shooter and Ultron being the other 2. But Egghead has the best first appearance of those 3, with this great dramatic first cover by Jack Kirby, and being such an early book that is difficult to find in high grade. In December of 1962, Marvel had really just gotten back into the superhero comic book publishing business after not publishing any superhero comics for over a decade in the wake of the publication of Seduction of the Innocent and the resultant Senate hearings on juvenile delinquency and the adoption of the Comics Code Authority. Stan Lee was editor-in-chief at Marvel Comics, and he was leading a small creative team who were making a stable of superhero comics for his wife's cousin, Martin Goodman, publisher of Marvel Comics. After the introduction of the Fantastic Four in their own magazine in November of 1961, the Marvel bullpen followed quickly with the introduction of Hank Pym in Tales to Astonish 27, cover dated January 1962. The Hulk, with his self-titled series in May of 1962. Then Spider-Man in Amazing Fantasy 15 in August of 1962, and Thor in the same month in Journey into Mystery 83. August of 1962 was a big month for Marvel because they also reintroduced Hank Pym as the costumed superhero Ant-Man in Tales to Astonish 35. Stan and team quickly got to work building a rogues gallery for Ant-Man, starting with the commies. But the most significant of his early rogues is Egghead. When Egghead is introduced in December of 1962, this issue, Tales to Astonish 38, the Marvel Universe is still pretty small. Spider-Man has not yet made his second appearance, and Iron Man, the Wasp, Doctor Strange, the Avengers, the X-Men, and Daredevil have not yet made their debuts. You can tell it's an early Marvel Age comic book because it still has the price in the round button on the cover. The very earliest Marvel Age books, like Fantastic Four #1, have the round button but are still 10 cents. Starting with Fantastic Four #3, the price is 12 cents, but they only have the round button for less than a year, because with issue 14, they switched to the now traditional corner box. So only the Marvel Age comics published prior to May of '63 have the price button, which is a fun little detail that tells you this is a very early Marvel Age comic. Egghead's first appearance comprises a fairly tightly plotted 10-page story in this anthology, Tales to Astonish number 38. This great Jack Kirby splash page conveys a lot of action and introduces us immediately to a villain that would eventually play a very significant role in Hank Pym's life and the development of the character in the pages of the Avengers. Page 2 of the story establishes two things very clearly: that Ant-Man has all but shut down organized crime in the city, and that Egghead is an immoral genius. The underworld bosses hire Egghead to take down Ant-Man. Egghead studies his mark and decides to attempt to take him out by means of turning the ants against him. He invents his own device to communicate with the ants and sets Ant-Man up for a trap by telling them that they can be Ant-Man's master rather than a slave to Ant-Man. He reveals his plan to the underworld bosses. He'll trap Ant-Man on flypaper at the museum and at the same time set them up to steal the Wentworth necklace worth a fortune in diamonds. But when the trap is sprung, Ant-Man is prepared for him. To Egghead's astonishment, he doesn't stick to the flypaper and has a new invention allowing him to leap tall traps in a single bound, which allows him to easily escape. He and his ants then make quick work of the underworld bosses, and he reveals that the ants are not his slaves, but rather his allies in fighting crime, and that they told him immediately of Egghead's plan, allowing him to plan countermeasures to all of the elements of Egghead's trap. But in the confusion, Egghead slips away to plot another day. In an ending typical of Tales to Astonish, we see the brilliant atomic scientist residing in a Bowery flophouse, unkempt and muttering to himself, presumed insane. Pure Silver Age gold. But that is not the end of Egghead. Indeed, as I mentioned, he is, in my mind, Hank Pym's second greatest adversary after Ultron, although you would perhaps have to give the nod to Jim Shooter as Hank Pym's greatest antagonist. During Jim Shooter's run writing the Avengers, Hank had a mental breakdown, physically abuses his wife, Janet Van Dyne, the Wasp, is court-martialed and booted from the Avengers and divorced by Janet. He is then brought even lower when Jim Shooter and Egghead team up to have Egghead trick him into stealing the National Store of Adamantium, of which he is convicted and goes to jail in total disgrace. He does eventually get a redemption arc, but the events in the pages of the Avengers, some of them at the hands of Egghead, forever marked the character and molded his subsequent character development. Tales to Astonish 38 is not a common book. There are only 286 universal copies in the CGC Census, with a median grade of 6.0. This 7.5 ranks at the 27th percentile. A CGC 7.5 has a fair market value today of $550 plus shipping and taxes, which is heavily influenced by my purchase of this book due to the fact that it changes hands so infrequently. It has a 12-month trailing average of $750 and an all-time high of $975. So this book is discounted right now by about 44% to its record high price set less than a year ago in June of 2022. I paid $555.55 plus shipping and taxes for this beauty by virtue of being the last man standing after 40 bids on an eBay auction by Sparkle City Comics. As I stated, this book is rare enough and trades hands infrequently enough that my purchase established the current fair market value. This book only has about 2 to 4 recorded sales a year in this grade. I have a complete collection of the Ant-Man run from Tales to Astonish, so I've owned a solid but low-grade raw copy for years. But this bear market allowed me to pick up a nice slabbed book right at the top quartile of the CGC census for my personal collection. At nearly half off the record prices paid for this book, I couldn't be happier to add this early Marvel Age gem to my vault. With Egghead being such an important rogue for Hank Pym and playing such a significant role in the development of the character, this book holds a special place in the collection of Ant-Man fans, and it has such a low census count that being able to land a nice copy at a discount is phenomenal. I hope you enjoyed this video on the first appearance of one of Ant-Man's most significant rogues. Anyone else a fan of this book, the early Ant-Man stories, or the later Jim Shooter stories in Avengers that brought Hank Pym to new lows? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, happy hunting and take care of one another.